been like what, a year and 2 months since
I looked it
the
up
job
too.
one.
I looked it up too. I was like, I looked about. I was like, so it was July or June of 2018, right? And it
Yeah.
still blows my mind, by the way, that like you had the testicular fortitude to film your last day video in the office. That was your last day. Like, that's
Yep.
so epic, awesome.
Yeah.
That's
It
so
was really
cool.
funny. My coworkers were like, "What do you have?" I was like, "Well, there's this guy Jeff. Like, I'm in his group, and that's the same day as I got the inner circle too. Same day.
That's nuts.
Yep.
That is absolutely nuts. That's so
Yeah.
cool. And since then, by the way, you've launched a digital product, you've launched a coaching program, you've launched Facebook ads as a service, you've teamed up
Mhm.
with an F ton of people, and you effectively have. I really view like the ads agency experience as like experience times 4 or 5, right? Like you're
Yep.
constantly like freaking out and trying to learn. It's not an internship. It's like you're just doing 3 times as much work. And so you now, by the way, have the corporate experience of like 5, 6, 7 years now, which is so effing cool. But I
Yeah.
don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about like your journey from the day we did that video up until now, but doing it in a way that makes sense. So tell me what the hell's been going on since the day like we shot that video and where you are today.
Yeah, dude, it's a crazy story. Like when I reached out about doing the interview, I was like, wait a second, like I was on this page or this group a year ago, and just to think what has happened in that year and 2 months, I'm like, if I were to tell the story, it's going to sound like it's been 5 years.
I know, like
It's been 14 months since that video, and oh sweet, we got Angel on here. And Alex, since that interview, that was my last day of work. And my last
yeah.
day of a corporate job, I was working at a bank. I was a teller at a bank. And about 2 months before that was when that's not when I launched my agency, but it's when I launched it with a couple of strategic partners.
Yeah.
And so then from over the course of 2 months, we ended up having enough clients to where I felt comfortable leaving my job. So that's when that live happened. Then I joined the
How
inner
many
circle.
Well,
Yeah.
before we go through that, like how many clients made you feel like comfortable quitting your job? Because that's always like an in-betweener phase, and you're never really sure,
Yeah.
like first base, second base, what I would do. So like how many clients did you have before you finally said like I can quit my job?
It is six
Six
clients.
clients.
It would add it up to 4K a month.
Gotcha. So
Over
that was
6
what
months,
pushed
yeah.
you over the edge, right?
Yeah, and so we were only charging like 650, 750, and what's crazy is, and I'll get to this, but to show you, I was charging 650 for essentially the same product that I offered now, and I got a 5K a month retainer plus that's not including the ad spend. They're still
Right.
paying the ad spend and 15% of all the sales that bring in from that.
Isn't that like insane? Like
Yeah.
just by changing one or two things, like, and by the way, like when people pay 5K a month, they're happier to pay 5K a month. Like if my CEO was
Mhm.
like, Jeff, it's $650 a month, I say, I don't believe you. Like not going to happen. But when I'm
Yeah.
paying him like 5, 10, 15 times more, I have confidence that he can figure it out. It's not that he's worth it, but now he has money to figure it out with. And that's what happened with you, which is so cool.
Yeah.
But so you got your first chunk of clients, you quit your job, right? And
Yep.
then like what happened after that? Like your parents freaked out. Your wife was like, what do you think you're doing? You're like, I can't believe I'm doing this. So like, what were your thoughts and feelings?
Yeah. So, well, I quit based on my being upset with my employer. So I didn't plan on quitting. I was because I was it was the clients were easy enough to handle to where I could do it, on my lunch break, before work, that kind of stuff. And then they promoted this girl that was there like a quarter of the amount of time I was, less whatever corporate stuff. She ended up getting a promotion, and I was like, and then after our morning meeting, I went to my boss and I was like, hey, just want to let you know this is my last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then I went home from I went home from my job for lunch, and I told my wife. She was home, and I was like, I kind of did something. She was like, what'd you do? I was like, I quit my job. And she was like, okay, like she's like, I trust you. Like, if you think this is a good idea. I was like, I'm not sure, but I know that I'm going to make it work. And
Perfect.
so, Yeah. It ended up working out, but yes, it was not something that like I was building up to or anything. It was just kind of a snap decision. But so I quit my job, and then I put in 2 weeks. My actual last day was at Live, and then over the next 2 months was just maintaining those clients and testing new stuff out because they were all in the dentist niche. And we knew that we had the ability to scale because of the influence that my past partners had in the space. And so I knew that it was going to be we just needed to prove the concept to the partner that basically had all of the connections. Yeah. And so I used the stuff that I learned in the inner circle with the emails and the text messages and all the stuff that you teach us, the Wallet Out campaign. I used all that to maintain these clients for 3 months. They were all but one ended up going past those 3 months.
Nice.
And that was just because I could not figure out. I mean, it just happens sometimes. Like this guy's ads, they just weren't working. And
that's just how it works. Like, I honestly, like, I'm happy that 4 out of 5 stuck around as long as they did, because there's 1.5 million reasons why stuff can go wrong. And you can do 1,000,000 minus 1 reasons to solve it. And all of a sudden, like, that's a sticking point. Either way, though, 4 out of 5 is effing great. So go on. Yeah.
Yeah. So we ended up, or 6, whatever it was. Anyway, 1 left. And then as shortly after, just like full transparency, how we scheduled it or how we did payment before was once their ads were running, that's when we got payment. And so on my last day, that's a huge tip. Don't do that, because this is what the next 2 months of my life looked like, was having to chase down payments. And with 2 of them, so everybody, that 4K, I had to wait essentially another 1.5 months after my last day of work to actually receive that. And so which was just,
why would you do that?
Yeah, it was so dumb.
Okay. Pro tip for everybody watching. Don't do that. Just get the money up front. But yeah.
Yep. Yes. Yeah. I don't literally, I don't even send invoices anymore. Like, it's like, if they're in, they pay on the phone. Like, I don't, I don't even do it. Yeah. Like, I get people's payment up front. And so anyway, don't do that. Don't wait until the ads are running. That's a bad idea, because what happened was, as soon as I pressed launch on 5 of those people's ads, there's this nice little Facebook error that said, you can't run ads from this ad account. And I didn't know enough at the time to be like, oh, I'll just create my own ad accounts. Yeah. And so I essentially had to go back and forth with Facebook for a month before those ad accounts actually got reactivated.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Wow.
And so eventually so over that like 6 weeks of not getting paid, I was like, I should probably figure out a way to make money. So I ended up selling bots for like $1,000 to my dentist clients. I just called them and was like, hey, I know your ads aren't running, but I got this thing that you can buy to where you can have like an answering machine on your Facebook page, and it'll just be $1,000 to make or to install it onto your Facebook. And so that's how I was able to survive past the 6 weeks.
That's interesting. I like that upsell, which is like, it's just an answering machine for your Facebook. I like that.
Yeah. That's how I pitched it. Yeah. And then what I did is I created a video of it being used and then sent it to them. And I was like, hey, I can do this for you. It's only $1,000. And they were like, okay. And so 3 of them said yes out of the 6. And so that was cool. Made it so that I could continue living. And then, so after about this time last year was when we decided that things were ready to rock. Like, we were ready. Mm-hmm. We had 3 offers that we nailed down, which was, $1,000 off Invisalign, a free implant consult, and a $49 teeth whitening or new patient special. So we had those ready to go, and we had proven it across multiple different. We switched out those campaigns for those clients, so we proved that these offers could work, except for that one client, and so we knew that these would work. So we went to, the partner that had all the connections. He was well known in the dentist space. He got us.
Hold on. So before we get into that, so you had ads at work. It was proven. One of those clients turned into your referral partner, but you didn't know that then, right?
Right.
Okay.
No, cool. Actually, sorry. No. They were. I already knew that he was. So what happened was I ran his ads and he was really happy with the result and was like, hey, can we, like, I think that you guys are onto something, and offered to be a partner in the business and he would give us all these clients.
Got it. Okay. I understand.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. So I already knew that. So we went on to he was like, okay, I feel like you guys are ready to go. You have offers at work. Like you work.
Yeah. Oh, Jimmy died. Oh, hold on. What did you do?
I didn't do anything.
It just broke. What was that?
Yeah. I wasn't touching anything.
That's so funny. Thank you, Be Live, for that sponsored message of breaking it in the middle of the interview. Okay. Yep. All right. So you get on a podcast. That's where you were, right?
Yes. Okay. Yep. So audio and Jeff are audio. Can we get some confirmation people can hear us?
All right. So let me just check. Hold on. This is like, part of my brain is like Tom Clancy and all this stuff. Is like, this is how the Russians attack. That's how we know. Facebook is down. The world is coming to an end, right?
The Thanos snap of Facebook.
Perfect, right?
Okay, perfect. Jay just said.
All right, we're good. Okay, cool.
Somebody said back up 3 minutes. Okay.
Wait, what does that mean? Back up 3 minutes?
I don't know. And
we're back. Somebody said we're back.
Okay,
all right,
we're back. Okay, cool. So just to recap, we had a system that works for dentists. We had 3 offers that we knew that we could offer, and then we went to so we went about the client's results that we got, and we then created a PDF where people like 3 secrets to dentist ads or something like that, and we said, hey, like get our PDF to learn what we did for these clients. So we designed one, and then we did then after they downloaded it and we got their name and email, it was a video of us like, hey, you can get on a free strategy session with us because you're a podcast listener. Normally we charge $300 for these, but if you book from this, because you're booking from this link, you can get a free strategy session with us. The calendar was booked 8 hours a day for, I'm not kidding, 6 weeks.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. And
all right. So I know a little bit about this story because we did like an exclusive training where you showed how to do and what to do. And for everybody who's like not like up to speed and all that, your referral partner got you on a podcast. All you did was talk shop for like 30, 45 minutes, right?
Yep.
They just asked you questions, you responded, and you had enough experience and you could give good answers. At the end of it, they're like, Jimmy and whoever else in the room, like, do you have anything that you want to say? And you're like, yes, we do. By the way, if you want to get our free 5 tips on how to do blank, blank, and blank, go to bit.ly/whatever, or like jimmy.com or jeffmyface.com or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
They download the PDF, and at the end of it, there's a video of you saying, hey, did you want to talk? And you got booked out 8 hours a day, every day for like 3 or 4 days in a row?
No, it was 4 days a week for 6 weeks.
Oh my God. You were booked up for a month.
Yeah. Yeah. Literally could not, even if I wanted to, couldn't, or actually I didn't take the calls. My partner did. She was more of the sales person in the relationship. I was more of the back end and, the ads and that kind of stuff. So
that's insane. Like 30 days worth of people saying, hey, I want to buy what you have to sell. Let's talk. That is absolutely nuts. That's how, by the way, is that correct for me thinking like with the bullet point, that's how you got 43 clients in 60 days?
Yes. Yep.
That's absolutely nuts. So what were those like, what were those strategy calls like? Were they like, I just want the free stuff? Like, was there a structure behind it? Did you do the wallet out pitch? What did those strategy calls look like?
Yeah. So because they were extremely warm, and the person who owns the podcast and my other partner who is also on the podcast were so well known in the community and endorsing it was just kind of like, we just basically did like, hey, where you're at, where do you want to be? What do you have in place to get there? Oh, you've tried everything and nothing's helping. Okay, we can, and then here's our cost. And then the first 2 weeks, we did $1,000 plus 500 in ad spend. And then after the first 2 weeks, we were like, let's just bump it up to 1,500 plus 2,000 in ad spend.
See what
or
happens.
500 in ad spend. So yeah,
and
so
people kept saying yes, whether it was 1,000 or 1,500, they kept saying yes, right?
Yep.
Absolutely nuts. That's so cool.
Yeah, and so we ended up just doing the sale, and then we kind of used a little bit of the Sam Oven script is kind of what we used in the sales process. But yeah, that's what we did. We were able to onboard, and I don't recommend ever onboarding that many clients without systems in place, because the next 6 weeks of my life were the most stressful and intense. Like it was unbelievably stressful to onboard that many clients in a single, basically 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, because up to this point, you've had like 4, maybe 5. Now you've got 40, right?
Yep.
And everyone's got something different, something unique. They don't know. They're kind of suspicious. Like they're not all in like your previous clients, and they're not all in Jimmy, right? They're all just kind of like, maybe it's worth it. I don't know. And that makes that they're always going to ask more questions when they're not sure, right?
Yes.
So now that you've got like 43 people that paid you money, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are you, like 6 months into this? Is that right?
Yeah. Well, April is when we started. So April, May, June, July, August, 5 months. Yeah. Or so
5 months
6
in.
months.
You've got too many clients, right? Which is like great and horrible at the same time. You realize now, looking back, like it's like systems and processes that matter, which is like where the IC is heading to. But it all kind of fell apart, right?
Essentially, yes. So yeah. So we onboarded the clients, and we told all of them that your ads will be live within 14 days. And so thing was, and then when she was booking clients, she got this Google spreadsheet, and she's like, okay, we're going to do these in batches. So the first 5 need to be live by this day, the next 5 this day, and she did it in batches, which was really smart. And it made it so that we had plenty of time to be able to make these clients ads. And essentially how we sold it, when people were like, well, that's like 3 weeks away, so I'm only going to have your service for 3 weeks. We were like, well, essentially what you're paying for in the first month is a setup fee. People were fine with that for the most part. I think there was only a couple that were like, no, I don't like that. And so essentially we pitched the first month as like a setup fee. And then the next after that would be on top of that. And so we did 3-month contracts as well.
Gotcha.
And so that's essentially how it worked. But yeah, so we, the first batch came in, and how one of my partners who is a dentist, he's at a like systems genius. And so he was like, hey, what we should do is not have the ads manager. We should split up the company into 3 separate pieces. There's going to be sales, there's going to be ads, and there's going to be customer service.
Yeah.
And then, I guess 4, and then executives. And so he said the ads managers should not talk to the clients. They should just be making ads and managing ads. And there should be customer service. And I had never seen that before, because at the time I was talking to somebody who worked at a agency that had 200 clients, and they said that the ads managers also respond to customer support. And so, which I thought was, because when my initial thought was, yeah, they should be the people or the ads managers should be also the ones talking to the client, because they're the ones working on their campaign. But So I was like, okay, that kind of takes me out of having to talk to customers. I was like, great, fantastic. Then when it came time for that first batch, I hadn't talked to any of these people. And then when we launched their ads, they were like, oh, this is wrong. And I was like, this is what the information I got. Like, I don't know.
And so, how is this wrong? This is what you sent me.
Yeah. And so then, a few days into that, it seems like there was a lot of mistakes, or a lot of mistakes happened. People were starting to get like impatient, and and also you got to think about it from my other partner's perspective. So during that 6 weeks leading up to launching these clients' ads, we essentially didn't launch any ads for like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And so we were going to charge these people. It's kind of, I don't need to get into all those details, but so for 6 weeks, she's working 8 hours a day or 6, 7 hours a day on sales calls. And she also had another business. And so she was extremely, extremely busy. And so, and then from my end, because I wasn't doing sales calls and wasn't doing customer service or anything, it was very uneven, the workload.
Yeah.
And so from their perspective, I didn't do anything for 6 weeks essentially. And then when it came time for me to run ads, they were wrong. And so from their perspective, it was that I essentially didn't do the work that I promised.
Right.
Or I didn't hold my end.
So everything essentially went to hell in a handbasket really darn fast because you took on so many clients so fast. It was a brand new company that was like getting like pseudo explosive growth. I hate that term, but you know what I mean. And everything fell apart so quickly because you are used to essentially like what I teach, which is a chief marketing officer. Like you will like guide them through it. We're going to take care of you. We're going to charge you too much money. And you're going to love it. And I'm going to know every step of the way. You learn that. And then you just got like chopped up. Right. And so like this was like inherently like it was too much, too soon, too fast. Right.
Yep.
Which is like that just sucks. Right. And so for all those reasons and more, everything fell apart and you took a step back from agency life. Right.
Yeah, so I ended up leaving the company and it was just best for where I was at. And so I took a step back and was like, I don't know about this agency stuff. And even though I still had the clients that were not dental, I was able to keep, which added up to like, it was like 3 or 4 clients. And so I was able to keep those on. And then that's when, so essentially that's what happened. Or actually they said, do you, instead of being an owner of this company, do you want to be like basically the CMO and we'll pay you an awesome salary to stay? And I said yes to that initially. And then when I talked to after thinking about it, I was like, no, I don't want to do that. So I just essentially said like, I'll be your white label. Like you just pay, I'll have my own entity and you just pay that entity to run your ads. I'll help train your new ads managers, all that stuff. And so that's how it worked for a little bit. Then I went to JR's event in Atlanta last October, and everybody was like, dude, you're managing 43 clients with that much. Like you need to not do that. Yes. And Angel Pichardo was like, just basically talked to me for like half an hour, just hyping me up to be like, I need more money. It was great. And so I ended up coming back and was like, hey, like in order for this to make sense for me, I need to be paid this much. And they were like, no, we're not willing to do that. So I just was like, all right, well, I'll help you finish out this training and then we'll move on from there. So I was able to keep a handful of clients. And then that's when I realized I was like, man, I haven't had to like go get that many clients myself. I had gotten those 5 clients by myself, like in the last like couple months, but I was like, I don't know how to aggressively get clients like I did before because it was, a podcast. Like, how do you duplicate that? And so, because even if how many people get on podcasts all the time, it doesn't produce that kind of result. It was kind of a fluke. And so I was like, I'm not sure. And then at the time, somebody who was actually in the 2X club and who owns like a massive solar company. He was like, hey, I saw what you're doing. He happened to live where I live, which is just insane. And so he was like, why don't you like come and do the ads for my solar company? We're expanding into 4 different markets. I'll pay you this much. Plus I will, we'll launch a like consulting, almost like an agency consultancy for solar clients. And he'll offer me ownership in that. So I was like, sure, let's do it. So I ended up just like running.
You make it seem like it's no big deal, but it's a kind of a big deal. Like I know you're talking about, I'm not going to say his name, but it's kind of a big deal. But go on. Yeah.
Yeah. So I ended up saying yes. Yeah. I ended up saying yes and work. And I kind of missed I didn't miss having a job, but I missed the office environment kind of and having people to talk to every day. And so I ended up going to and working at the office where I live and where his office is. I ended up working there for a handful of months. And then we launched I still had my clients on the side. They kind of slowly, because I was so invested into this, I kind of slowly just got rid of them. and or they left. And then I was like, hey, let's launch this consultancy now that for solar companies, now that we're like, we have this proven system, let's do it. And you have the awards to like, flex on. So we ended up launching it and it was doing okay. Like we had a handful of people join. We had a bunch of people. We hosted a live event, which brought in a really good chunk of change. That was awesome, where we actually helped people build out their funnels. We helped people, I actually did this twice. We helped people build funnels. I taught Facebook ads, and we taught, all kinds of stuff for 4 days or three or 4 days of people just learning and learning. It was amazing. And so it was a ton of experience. Cool. Yeah. So I did that until end of May. And then I realized that I missed the agency life. I missed having 100% of my own thing. And a guy that actually was working at that company with me and him carpooled every day. And he started in February. So from February to like end of April, me and him were talking every day for like, 45 minutes to an hour. And we were like, cause it was way the heck out there. And so we realized that we had the same goals and visions and that we both wanted to have this agency life. And so we ended up both leaving together to start our own agency. And since then we've grown it to 11 clients and did 25K in sales this month. And then 15K in sales last month and 10K the first month. So it was just kind of like so cool. Steady growth. And then this month we signed 3 clients that are where that's what I alluded to earlier. One is at 5K, one's at 4K, one's at actually just 50% of the profit of what we sell them. Mm-hmm. And so, but these are solar clients. So they are one sale is like $1,000 a pop. And we have a system in place to where we basically are using a system that produced 85 installs a month. And so we're producing like potentially it could be these 3 clients. We did the math, like worst case scenario, these are like 7-figure a year just from these 3 clients.
That's insane. Oh my God. I'll tell you what, Jimmy, you're onto something big, because I was chatting with a guy in Texas and he figured out how to do Facebook ads for pool installation companies. I was like, that's cool. I don't know what that means. I don't have a pool. I've never like paid for a pool. He's like, yeah, pools are like 150 grand over here. I was like, oh my God. Like these are like incredibly like massive pools. And he's getting 1 or 2 deals a week. 1 or 2 deals a month for his clients. And they're paying him a percentage. I'm like, this guy's banking. Like, oh my God. Yeah. And that's going to be you. That's literally going to be what you're doing. That's insanely cool.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. And how we were able to do that was, again, and this happened with that like hockey stick growth that we talk about. It essentially happened twice because of, and there was one common denominator, which was partnering up with a referral partner of somebody in that niche that has a proven result that they can kind of like flex on other companies. So if like now when I approach a solar company, I'm like, hey, 2 of the people that I work with that are managing partners in this company, they own 8-figure solar companies. So you're getting that exact
you're going to join
system.
Up. Like, you're going to join. Like,
yeah, you're not only you're going to get an 8-figure solar marketing plan, but you're also going to get an 8-figure sales training. And we're recording actually videos of the sales training that produces like $2.5 to $3 million a month is what each of these guys do in solar sales. And so we're actually going to create a sales training program and put it as part of our package. And then, so not only we're going to charge a retainer, but we're going to eventually charge a crazy high setup fee where they're going to get the sales training. They're going to get the Facebook ads. We get a percentage and they basically get the whole thing. They get everything.
Fantastic.
They're going to get everything A to Z that has proven to take solar companies to from 7 figures to 8 figures.
So let me see if I can draw some connections. You quit your job, right? And you find out you get some clients, like you're doing the hustle and the grind and blah, blah, blah. And you realize very quickly that you have to have like a referral partner or like a power partner. By the way, Jimmy, this is the same process that Jeff Lopez is doing to break 100K a month. He's going to do 200K in September. That Katie and Jordan, who are also in the IC, they went from 5K a month to 40K a month. We have
I
somebody
saw
else that
that.
broke 30. We have somebody else that broke 60. Like they're all doing exactly what you mentioned, which is like find your power partner and follow the right way to do it. And your first power partner, you just signed on too many clients too fast. Everything fell apart. That happens, right? Like that's the
Yep.
problem with growth. Your second go around, you found a power partner that had proven processes, proven steps, and you took the same methodologies to a brand new niche. And now you're in a position where you're so good at your job. You've got proven steps, proven ads, proven process, like everything works. You finally have the dream scenario where you're getting paid thousands and thousands of dollars for a huge setup fee and a percentage of the deal. Like,
Yep.
what the hell, Jimmy? Like, how do you, like, where did this happen? This is literally the dream scenario. And I try this with my clients' bike shops, but like, it's too weird. Like, he doesn't feel comfortable. He just wants to keep paying me $6K a month. Fine, right? I won't charge you a percentage of your bike sales. But if I figured out a way, I could make a lot more money. And you did too, which is crazy. So like, I got a question for you. And everybody's asking, how did you have that conversation with that end client of like, hey, we're going to run this for you. We're going to charge you a lot of money, take a percentage. Were they like, oh my God, no? Did they come to you? Like, how do you have that conversation where they want to pay you so much money consistently?
That would be a question for my partner. He's
oh, gotcha. Okay.
So essentially what he said was like, hey, we did 85 installs last 2 months using Facebook ads. And I know that you guys could use that kind of growth. And that was it. That was just like, hey, we're going to do the same thing for you that's worked for us.
Gotcha.
And so that's why those power partners of people that are actually have a result in your niche, that's why they're so powerful, because you can, like, who's going to argue with that? Like, who's going to say like, we'll run your Facebook ads and use the exact same system that produced 85 installs last month. Like, what solar company is going to say no to that?
Who would ever say to, we're going to do the same thing to you that we did to us that made us $100 million? Like, nobody's going to say no to that, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's absolutely insane. And that's leading with results first. That's not necessarily leading with tools as like the impact. And that's a big mistake Facebook ad agencies make. So if you're watching, you're starting out, like all you got right now is a tool, but know that if you lean on the tool, that's like a carpenter saying this hammer is amazing. You don't care. You just want your floorboards fixed, right? That's stage 2, which is like going from tool to solution. Stage 3 is talking about result. So when I go to a bike shop and I say like, look, I took my other bike shop from 20K a month to 90K a month. I can do the same for you for X dollars. That's powerful, right? That's not me talking about the tool. That's me talking about the end result, which is exactly what you're doing, which is really, really cool. So So your relationship with your new power partner is you do all the ads, you take care of the clients, the customers, they're at the front of the company. Is that how that works? Or what does that structure look like?
Well, so before this partnership happened, before that, me and my partner were in the HVAC niche, and we started running ads, and we got like a VA set up through Ravi, and then we started to really hit the HVAC niche. We were able to onboard a handful of clients a month from that, and so that's where initially the result has come from, is from being just sticking to one niche. We go into the HVAC industry and they're like, hey, or we just say, we're going to be doing tune-ups. Like that's the only offer that we can do for you. And it's great because it takes us less than 30 minutes to onboard a client because of that. We just know all we do is change out the wording, because we have an ad that works. We just change out the wording. And so that's really where the most momentum has come from. This is pretty new, like last month. And it took us about 3 to 4 weeks just to get things in order. And then we turned on the ads for one of the guys yesterday, and he was getting $1.50 leads. The guy literally called and said, how much money did you spend in our Facebook ads? I was like, we spent $20. Why? What happened? He was like, $20? I got 22 leads sent to me in 2 hours.
That's insane. Yeah. So you've cracked the dentist niche. Yep. You cracked HVAC, and now you're cracking solar.
Yes.
Jimmy, that's big. That's a big fucking deal. Like, that's
just
the dream industries, like right there. That's insane.
Yeah. And we're working with some roofers too. And so like what we're doing is essentially, the reason why I'm able to do that is because I research like crazy before I go into a niche. I literally will go on Google for hours and look up Facebook ads for roofers and just see what's happening. And then I'll go into courses like the IC, like your dentist ad, like you actually helped me out with it. And so I was able to create that my own. And then you kind of see that there's a pattern of the type of ad copy that works. And then I studied ad copy a ton. And so, because that's really like the offer and the copy are the things that are going to make your Facebook ads work. And so, and then the creative. And so what's working right now in creative is stuff that grabs your attention. Like one of the, like for one of our solar clients, it's just like this, it's a picture of a really beautiful home with solar. And in the background is these crazy psychedelic image, like a psychedelic, like GIF of like,
really?
Yeah. And
that works. Oh
yeah.
my God.
Yeah, I produced $1.50 solar leads, and the guy freaked out and was like, "I can't handle 22 leads an hour, or 22 leads in 2 hours. You guys need to like chill out."
Dial it back there. Can't deal with that much success. That's so funny.
And so it's just about doing research.
Gotcha. So let me ask you this. So like your HVAC experience, right? Did you team up with an HVAC partner for that? Or did you start running ads for that? Like, what was your strategy about getting people calling you saying, "Hey, I want you to run my HVAC ads"?
Yes. So that was cold emailing using the Inner Circle, Joel Kaplan's method.
Beautiful.
And used a VA because that shit takes forever. So I hired a VA. I got the VA from Ravi, who's on here not too long ago. And so I started doing cold emailing, and then that produced a handful of clients. And then from there, we used the money and reinvested it back into Facebook ads. And Joel Kaplan helped me out with those. And then So again, like, and one of the things that if you caught there, like, I don't know if people know, but like I invested a lot in myself to be able to make all that stuff happen. Like, because none of those guys did anything for free for me. Right.
It is interesting. Like once you end up putting your money into you or into somebody else who's invested in you, you shortcut your learning curve very, very quickly. Like you and I both know that you could have spent months trying to figure out cold emailing. It's much easier to pay to shortcut that success. You and I both know you could have figured it out all on your own and spent a year trying to nail HVAC for a client opportunity. It's just easier paying someone to do it for you and with you and show you the shortcut, right? And so I'm happy that you brought that up, because when I bought my first course, I shortcutted my success by about 3 years into maybe probably 30 days. The second one was 2 years into 30 days. It's like it happens every time. And I'm now going through, I have a new mentor. It's new one-on-one support. And he's like, "You're doing it all wrong. Just do this instead." I was like, I was thinking about doing that next year. He's like, "I'm going to show you how to do it tomorrow." He's like, "That's exactly what I want." Right? Like you shortcut your learning curve, which is like absolutely fantastic. So you studied the HVAC niche. You figured out ads that worked. You paid for help, paid for support. You did all of that. Did you take that same thought process and apply it to solar ads? Or did you not have to reinvent the wheel, or what was that thought process like?
So at this point with solar, I remember I had ran solar ads for a, huge solar company in 5 different states. I ran his ads for 7 months. So I knew exactly what worked. And so I didn't have to, but I learned just from because he had ads that worked. He did his first 10 million in sales from Facebook ads. He didn't do door knocking. He didn't do any of that. So I looked at his ads and then modeled my ads from that. And at this point, I've probably written 300 to 400 solar ads easily. And
that's nuts.
Yeah. And so just practicing, like there was a couple months where I was like, every day I'm going to write 2 new ad copies for solar. And so like I've gotten pretty dang good at writing copy for Facebook ads and for local businesses specifically, just from that experience.
That's absolutely fantastic. I think that's really, really key. And I forget which book it was. It's got to be Ogilvy somewhere. I forget which book he wrote, or some copy book that Danny Velez mentioned to me. But one of the courses or the coaching programs or books is like, you're going to write 2 ads a day every day till you stop sucking at it. And that's what you did, right? You just wrote 2 ads a day every day. And man, I wish like I could remember. Maybe it's like a Cult of Copy, like that group. I don't know. But that's what they do to get people really, really good at writing emails that convert, Facebook ads that people to sign up, like text messages that get people to call back. You just write 2 every single day. And then after a while, you just start getting really, really good at that. And that's like absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this.
Okay.
You've done dentists, you've done HVAC, you've done solar. I'm missing one, right?
Roofing.
You're going to do roofing, right?
Yeah. Or doing
Do you
roofing.
You're doing roofing now. Is
Yep.
it the same research process and mentoring and coaching that's going to allow you to like land high paying niches? Is that like your game plan? Just keep going through the high paying niches?
Yeah. So we figured out a way to the reason why those niches is because they well not actually I haven't done a dentist ad in like over a year, so I can't really
Yeah.
speak to that. But roofing, HVAC, and solar, they're pretty similar. Like they sound like totally different niches, but they all stem from the same thing. Solar is probably the one that's least like the other two, and because solar you don't really need. It's kind of something that people they. I mean, one could argue, I guess, that they need it, but it's not something that you can't live without. But a
Correct.
roof, you have to have a roof over your head, and it has to be working properly. Otherwise, you'll get leaks and all kinds of crazy stuff. And then with HVAC, you have like who doesn't need heating and cooling? Like you kind of need it. And so for me, and those are both really high tickets. So those are the perfect niche. And we're probably going to have, a bunch of people that are like, oh, maybe I should change niches now. But,
All this competition. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm telling you, like, just stick to one, like whatever niche you're on, just stick to it. Like anyway, so the reason why I like those is because they're high ticket. Like a new AC replacement's like anywhere between 5 and 15K, and then for roofers, we do. I talked to a guy who a residential roof was 60K for him, and
That's
so
great.
it's so easy. And then solar is like 15 to 25K. So with every single one of those, I have to get them one result for them to be happy and want to pay me again. Just one.
What I really like, by the way, is you can also prove that they messed up just once and save one deal. You made them 60 G's and they're never going to fire you because you're doing sneaky surveys, welcome text, callbacks, you're doing call records, you're doing all the prove your leads are legit like we teach in the IC. So like one can slip through the cracks, you save it, which is really your software saving it. And now you made them an extra 60K. And you're like, I'm the most amazing Facebook ads guy in the world. That's really CMO style stuff, right?
Yeah.
So are you teaching also your HVAC companies or solar companies how to sell as well? Or is that just something from the solar side?
That's the solar side of things. So for
Gotcha.
HVAC, I just let them know, like, because I offer a guarantee. My guarantee with HVAC is that if they don't see an ROI in 3 months, then we'll keep running their ads until they do. But the caveat to that is that that only qualifies if they can prove that they called the leads 5 times each.
That's exactly what Nick Robbins does, by the way. Same exact thing.
I didn't know that. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and it worked. He's like, I guarantee that you'll get an ROI if you do what I say. It's just like most weight loss programs. Like, I guarantee you're going to lose 10 pounds in 90 days if you do what I say. And then they don't do that. And you're like, well, that's why you didn't lose weight. Right.
Yep.
I do that with like my clients now. Like my car wash is coming back on board to bring like 5 locations. I'm like, I'm going to guarantee you're going to get an ROI if, and then like the if is the catch, which is like, you have to call back your leads and your place has to be staffed. It's like normal stuff, but you know, some people forget, right? Everybody watching, we're going to move into Q&A. We got 2 questions for you, Jimmy, if that's okay.
Yep.
Chris says, who's in the IC says, are you selling leads? Is it a retainer? What's your relationship like with HVAC companies, solar, all that stuff?
All retainer. So I tried doing pay-per lead for solar, and it was a nightmare. It was what I initially tried doing when I relaunched my agency back in June, and it was not a good because I found it just as difficult to sell leads as it was a retainer, and the results were not really any different.
Yeah. So it's just easier to say you're going to pay me X dollars per month, and then you're going to get a bunch of leads versus saying you're going to pay me X dollars per lead and fight about whether the lead was any good or not, right?
Yep.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
Next question from Jay Donaldson is, what's your process like for finding power partners? Are you pitching? How does that conversation work? What are you doing and how are you doing it?
Yeah, so both of them came to me. And so it's kind of hard to like give you a, step 1, 2, 3. It's kind of hard to say that. If I were to try and find another one, what I would do is search in my area for somebody that's crushing it in that niche, and then just reach out to. It's kind of hard because there isn't a whole lot of owners that or I mean, I guess there's got to be a criteria of two things. Like one, it has to be a legitimate business. Like the guy who we partnered with, or the two guys for solar, the reason why it works is because those guys have businesses that run pretty much on autopilot. And so they're able to, like, he reached out to me because he was like, hey, like it's not that I don't have anything to do. It's just that my business is pretty automated at this point, and I want to do something else. And I think that a lot of solar companies could use what we have to offer.
Gotcha.
And so I mean, if I were to try and find one, I would actually just look for, people in my area that are like, for a roofing example, like there's a company where I live, and I would go to I would just reach out to them, and you would probably have to reach out. It's like that whole like Dream 100. I hate that, but it's that whole thing. Like try and figure out, like research some roofing companies, like the top 100 roofing companies in the country, and just like go to work. And I can't guarantee that that'll work, just because I didn't have to do that. They came to me because of the relationships and results I've been able to get for people.
I was going to say, I think that's incredibly like important and will provide a lot of clarity. Once you have some results, all of a sudden you're a winner, and winners want to help winners win more, right? You have to be on the right side of the table, which is like, I'm getting started. I have results. We're getting there. I just need a little bit, and it's going to give me that rocket ship that I expect. People look out for that all the time. Like once you're ready, your next step naturally appears. It's happened every step for me. Like everybody that I've paid for mentoring, they approach me because they're like, Jeff, I see what you're doing. You got to change 2 or 3 of these things. I'm like, all right, I think you're right. The COO, he reached out to me. Like that's just how this works. You have to be winning a little bit, and winners will help you win more. And so it's very easy, by the way, for Jay, if you're winning a little bit, update your profile, be part of groups, be part of I was going to say industry groups, but like people who gather around a certain subject or topic, publish your results so that people know that you're winning, and stuff's going to line up really darn fast.
100%. Yeah.
Jimmy, you're okay with doing a couple 3 15-minute strategy sessions, like a group call or something like that, right?
Yep.
Fantastic. So for everybody watching, if you want to spend some Jimmy Rutowski quality time together, if you want to ask about HVACs and solars and dentists and power partners and referring, and he doesn't have to show you anything, but if he's feeling nice, maybe he'll show you something. I don't know if it's a group call or separate calls, but if you want a shot in the dark, and if you want a guaranteed response from Jimmy, just hashtag Jimmy my face, and I'll introduce you, I'll PM you, and you guys will spend either 3 15-minute separate calls or a group 15-minute call. Ask him whatever you'd like. He's more than happy to move you forward. We've got a couple more questions, and then we'll bring the sucker to a close. Phil asks, how do you research the niche you want to get into? How do you be that expert? How do you say, I know nothing about HVACs, and say, oh, I know HVAC ads that already work? Is there a thought process behind that?
Yeah. So how you can do it is, one, just looking up, like clearly on Google, just put HVAC ads, and then just see what, like HVAC Facebook ads. Like I'm not even kidding. Like I've gotten good ad ideas just from doing that and seeing what other people are doing. And that whole man, there's so many people typing that Jimmy my face. That's amazing. If we get 1,000 more, I'll bleach my hair.
Oh no, don't. Oh no. All right. So as a side note, like, oh man. All right.
We get 1,000 comments, Jeff.
That happened on a post, by the way. I threatened to kick a whole bunch of people. I was like, I can't deal with all these bots and spammers. I'm kicking everybody out. Comment on this spam post, and 2,000 people commented. So Jimmy, you might have to bleach your hair, dude. Like 1,000 comments is doable. Like,
I'll do it.
Oh God. Okay. How do you? All right. If I'm understanding correctly, researching a certain niche really isn't that difficult or challenging. Our brains make us think it is, but you have access to Google, access to Facebook ads. Just start that researching process. Are there certain things that they should be looking out for, that they should try to shortcut or funnel hack, or how does somebody go from 0 to expert in 2 weeks, right?
Ooh, this is something, hopefully, anyway, Jimmy, please right here. So it's something that you can do is simply just call the businesses and ask your customer research questions.
Yep.
It's literally the free way of doing it. So the customer research questions that you ask, Jeff, like literally just asking, calling businesses and just saying, hey, and you can completely BS them and just say, hey, and this is not my original idea. This is actually something I got from Joel Kaplan. So I want to give him credit there. He like you call and you just ask the customer research questions and you can say like, hey, I'm a college student from in Indiana, and I'm doing a research project for HVAC companies. And I just have a handful of questions. Is it okay if I talk to the owner for 5 minutes? And you might have to make like 50 calls, but I guarantee you'll get a handful of responses, enough to where you can speak their lingo and be able to. But when it comes to, yeah, so that's how you talk to customers. When it comes to like ads for the clients,
anyway. Stop looking at the chat, Jimmy. Like, you let this 1,000 comment thing roll up real fast.
I got rid of the chat window.
You're gonna pay your price real fast. I'll show you. Like,
okay, that would be so funny, dude. Oh man. Anyway, so that's one way that you can like learn to talk to people in a niche. And I realized that that was not the question people asked, but what you can do is Google learning to write copy. So that's something that was really helpful to me. And then asking your clients, like, why do people do business with you? What is it that you promise them? Like just figuring out those things. And that's what I did with HVAC, because with those businesses that where people really need their service, it's pretty easy to come up with copy because you just ask your clients, what is it that people are trying to, what do people get from doing business with you? Like the best ad I've ever done was for a cryotherapy place. And every time I turned on their ads, we actually had a payment where people would prepay for the service in the funnel. Every time I turned it on, it was $5K a week. Every time I turned it on, she made $5,000. And so cool. And what it was I just asked her, like, I sat down with her and I was like, why do people do cryotherapy? And she was like, well, some people do it because they have headaches all the time and it gets rid of inflammation. And she went through a whole list. And then I just did that in the ad, and I do a simple structure of kind of like the Dan Henry style, but I make it a little bit more, I make it not as blatant as that. I change it up a little bit, but I say, hey, it was like, hey, Tri-Cities, Lindsay here from Sculpt, and I just wanted, and we're doing something to promote our new cryotherapy location. And it's like, haven't tried cryotherapy. It does blank, blank, blank. And I had like 3 bullet points and it said, this is for this month only, claim your coupon by clicking the button below. It's that simple. You don't need something crazy, but you need to ask your client. When it came to HVAC, the first HVAC ad that I ran, I just asked them, I was like, okay, so you want me to do an ad before duct cleaning, like people cleaning their air ducts? I was like, why would people care? Like, why do people care to get their air ducts cleaned? And they said, here's why. And they literally told me, because ducts have billions of bacteria. It gets into your mold spores. There's all these kinds of stuff. And so then I just wrote an ad that scared the hell out of people, that if they didn't clean the air ducts, their family was going to get infected with mold spores.
That's probably what happens, actually. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's something that you can do. Just come up with a structure. And so for mine, it's a call out the audience, ask a question that resonates with them, and which you taught me that as well. Are you sick and tired of blank, blank, and blank? I'm blank from blank, and we're promoting this right now. And then list a few bullet points, and then I have a copy like thing that I go through when I write ads. But anyway, are you cool with me giving that away, or?
As long as you're like okay with it, and we hit 1,000 comments so you can bleach your hair, like then it's gonna be fine. You can do whatever you want. But until then, I'm just
Okay, cool. So yeah, I mean, I'm willing to hand that out to some people, but it's essentially just how I structure the ads. It's like a 30-minute training or something like that on how I write ad copy, because that's seriously something that is I've tested this. The same offer with the same image, one had good copy, and then one just had like a couple lines on the promotion. Then one that had more copy won. Like it's that simple, and it did like infinitely better.
That's so cool. So for HVAC, it's pretty much like mold and duct cleaning and stuff like that. Is there an offer that works for solar pretty consistently that you're willing to share without like giving away too much? Is it like like get $100 off your solar. That's not a thing. Like what offer works? Like what would make me, some person that's going to buy a house in like 3 months, say like, oh yeah, I probably need solar. Like, what does that look like?
It is simply saying that if we can't lower your energy bill, then we'll pay you $250 for wasting your time.
Beautiful. What a great risk reversal, by the way.
That's so we can't. So essentially, like in the proposal, so they target it very specifically, and they make it so if one, they only book appointments with people to actually give that type of proposal to people that are one, qualified, and two, actually I realize you can't see my hand, one qualified and two are in the zone where they kind of know how much people's energy bills are, and they ask people like what their energy bill. So if somebody's like, I pay $250 a month, they know that they're going to be able to lower that bill, and so they say, if we can't lower your bill, we'll pay you $250 for wasting your time. And then they're able to, there's softwares that most solar companies have to where once they do the proposal, they can actually say your bill will be this amount after you install solar.
So if I'm understanding correctly, that offer risk reversal guarantee, right? It's just what gets people saying, hey, I'm going to raise my hand. I'll put my name into the hat and see what's up. Cool. Whole bunch of people signing up. They get on the phone and say, great, can I ask you a couple questions first? They go through a qualification process. And then they can say, yes, we guarantee it. Or actually, you know what? I don't think you qualify. I don't think we can take a next step, which is what plastic surgeons and accountants and doctors and lawyers do all the time, right? No, I can't take on your case. No, we can't do this. This is not okay. I can't promise it. They tell you that, right? So there's definitely like an application and qualification process. After they've gone through it and find people that they genuinely believe that they can meet or beat that guarantee, only then do they send out a guy, correct?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yep. And that makes it so people are like, well, I mean, worst case scenario, I have to sit down with the salesman for, 20 minutes and, and then if they can't help me, then they give me money. Like it's a pretty cut and dry system.
Yeah. And that salesperson will have appointments 10, 20, 30 a week. People that are saying, yeah, let's talk. Let's see if you can save me some money. They position it correctly. And now that salesperson, all they have to do is convert. And all they have to do is get one sale, and they made $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a day.
Yep.
The world is so simple when it makes sense. Absolutely fantastic.
Let's pick can we pick our guys, and then we can
actually. What I want to do is I want to. So the way we're gonna pick is we're gonna message each other like over the weekend and make sure like we get connected and all that. That's how we're going to set this up. But I'll tell you what, Jimmy, it's been an absolute effing pleasure. Is there any like last call, questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, ideas before we bring the sucker to a close?
I would say that, and I'm not saying this as like a, like a webinar sad story, but like I've been trying to do this for like trying to make money online for like 6 years. And so, and it's only really the last 4 months 3 months have been like I'm happy with where things are at. And so like, that's where I would say, like, if anybody's like, man, I don't know if this is going to work, like you got to stick it out and you got to pay your dues. Like I have invested an incredible amount of money in mentors to be able to get to me to where I'm at. There's 100%. There's no way in hell I would be where I'm at or even have the opportunities that I had if I didn't invest in myself first.
Fantastic. I'm super happy to hear it, Jimmy. Yeah. It's been an absolute pleasure having you inside the Inner Circle, seeing your massive growth. We're always updating stuff, by the way. There's a new module in there that's going to blow your effing mind. You're a fantastic human being. I really hope you have to dye your hair, but I understand if you don't. That's it. Don't hang up. We're going to be brief for like 15 seconds, Jimmy. It's been an absolute pleasure. We'll talk soon. See you guys later.
All right. Bye.